Hello and welcome to the third Seed and Soil. I'm Lou Michael here with Level Up Academy International, and we're here to talk about the Gemini new moon occurring at 23 degrees Gemini, Sunday, June 14th. That's today if you're here with me on the Sunday. You can set your intentions tomorrow or in the next few days or whatever. This is a practice that you're going to want to use and uphold for the rest of the month, really. Even though the sun goes into Cancer very shortly after this new moon, placing these intentions and holding these ideas in your mind is very important as you move forward into and continuing through Cancer season. So let's talk about this a little while. Gemini's planetary ruler is Mercury. Gemini is all about perception, your mind, how you think about things, and the world that you live in because of your perceptions. Now, a lot of you who study mystics, even quantum physics, those types of things, you know that the reality that we experience as individuals is not the actual reality, right? We have many opportunities to change the way that we experience our world and our lives based on what we think about the things that we are experiencing and what we place our value on, which we talked about in Taurus. So the element that we're dealing with is air, the mental aspect, and it's a masculine sign because it has to do with communication. So it's getting the message out there. Key themes for the Gemini new moon are going to be wonder, curiosity. These are the cornerstones of Gemini. I once had someone ask me, can you tell me anything positive about Gemini? Because all that I'm hearing are negative things. There are a lot of positive things about Gemini. Now, we'll talk a little bit later about the more negative expressions of the sign, but right now I want to focus on the curiosity, the sense of wonder, this childlike approach to life, living out the questions and loving the questions even more than the answers. Because this curiosity, this like not knowing how things are going to turn out or exactly what the answer is, opens up so many doors. It's an approach to life that creates synchronicity and creates magic and creates the experiences that we all want in our lives. Yes, stability is important, but we can have synchronicity that reflects that stability back to us. So the not knowing can actually reflect to us those values that creates a sense of a world in which we are safe to exist in. So we get the things that we value and that make us feel safe reflected back to us by virtue of our curiosity. So let's think about that for this Gemini new moon. Notable aspects that are happening really soon. So Chiron is entering Taurus on June 19th. It's just dipping in and then it's dipping back out in September, back into Aries where it's been for some time. And then it's going to go fully into Taurus April of 2027. But we get a little taste of what this is like. So Chiron is in a sign for years. And it's gonna be in Taurus once it goes in there until 2034. So it's a new energy for the collective. And that energy we're going to talk about moving forward. Also, an important aspect that's coming up is Mars. I don't know what Mars is doing, but Mars is going to be conjunct Uranus and Gemini on July 3rd and 4th. Interesting date, right? Also, it's going to be trine Pluto in Aquarius. This is really interesting, and we'll talk about the implications of this later on in this presentation. Okay, so this new moon is asking you to get curious. You don't want to have all the answers when it comes to Gemini season. As a matter of fact, the answers are detrimental to you finding new pathways as opposed to living the same cycles over and over. So it wants you to fall back in love with life and with the questions of life. Not certainty, curiosity. This is a childlike approach to life. Do you remember how exciting everything was when you were a kid? Or if you hang out with like a 2 or a 3-year-old that's like, look at this, look at that, look at it. Oh my God, everything's wonderful. What would life look like if we could get just a little drop of that in our everyday life as adults? How would that change our experiences? What is it that you've stopped being curious about? In this polarized world that we live in right now, oh, so polarizing. What if we stopped knowing and started asking questions? So let's talk about Chiron entering Taurus. Chiron is the wounded healer. Unless it's touching something personal to your birth chart, we're talking about the collective energy. So it dips into Taurus for the first time in literally decades, shifting the collective wound from identity and individualism to the territory of self-worth, financial security, and the physical body. Strange that these topics are now coming up when we're looking at a really unstable financial and resource type situation as a collective, as a whole in the world. These are real concerns that we're coming into, and here comes Chiron into Taurus, reflecting these concerns back to us. For this session, our journal prompts are going to be rooted in these. I know that they're Taurus themes, but we need to think about how we think about them. We need to think about how we experience them, because we're gonna have to start doing it differently in order to heal the wound, in order to calm the fears that the media, the world, everything that's happening is gonna start activating in us, because that's what Chiron, the wounded healer, does. It activates the wound so that we can transmute, transcend, heal, move through, and then teach others how to work with this wound in a way that brings a new sense of safety, security in the world. We're going to talk about this. These are the journal prompts. This is coming at the end. Moving on. Mars conjunct Uranus in Gemini, July 3rd and 4th, 2026. Also trine Pluto, which is in Aquarius. Wow. Okay. Mars is actions, the god of war. It's pure passion, pure just outward energy, make things happen, the action principle, with Uranus, the god of earthquakes and lightning. I don't want to sound scary, and I'm not. This is not. Sometimes these types of breakthroughs need to happen so we can see clearly what has been hidden. It's also going to be square the nodes. So there's something karmic about what's going to be happening at this time. For a nation that's already having some profound identity changes and questions regarding our identity, who are we? Who are we as a country, really? And that's coming up a lot. And there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, wow, I knew that this energy was there, but I didn't know it was who we were. We might get a little bit of a reckoning, or at least more information, something that's been hidden that might come to light. What I'm looking at it being is probably a catalyst. So something that brings up a new energy related to what's been going on already. Usually when you have a fast-moving planet that interacts with all these slower moving aspects, it's a catalyst for something that's happening. Let's get curious about that. This session focus is to make contact with the parts of you that are still curious and the parts of you that have stopped being curious. We're going to talk about some breath work because, God, breathing. This is the key to your nervous system. So important. The shadow of Gemini is just this endless restlessness. It's this stimulation of the nervous system that really doesn't have any end or any purpose. It skims the surface, it stays busy, it collects information instead of experience. What we need to have here is a willingness. And sometimes that's a willingness to be wrong. Sometimes it's a willingness to even get curious about the things that you think are wrong or are counter to what you have pitted yourself against, but just ask more questions. Ask more questions, because Gemini season is prime time to be surprised by yourself and by the things that are around you that you thought you had already built a structure around. It opens doors that you're closing by virtue of your perception. That's really exciting. That's something to get stoked about, right? To bring up an archaic term, let's all get stoked. The breath work. So because this is such nervous energy, it can be really nervous, undirected energy. The negative aspects of Gemini that person was asking me about, that everybody says, oh my God, you're so flighty. I don't know where you're going to be from one thing to the next. I don't know what you're even doing. What is the purpose? Time to breathe. Here's a tool. So what this is called the psychological sigh. You may have heard of this before, and it is a breath practice that has been shown, for the amount of time that you do it, to be more effective than meditation and more effective than box breathing. This is something that happens involuntarily after a cry, a hard laugh, a long, stressful moment. The body naturally does this to try and calm itself. And if we do it intentionally, then we can calm our body before it becomes this natural response. So we can be more intentional about how we're regulating our nervous systems in the moment. This belongs in Gemini, one, because of what I already mentioned, like Gemini can create some like nervous system disruption, but also Gemini rules the lungs and respiration. So it definitely belongs here. Literally, it rules the breath. Here's what it is. It's 2 quick inhales and 1 long intentional exhale. I'll show you what this looks like. 2 inhales and a long release. The first inhale is going to be to fill the lungs, and the second one is to like really get that last bit of air in there. Like if there's any space in your lungs, just fill all of it, and then a nice, calm, gentle exhale, sorry. So the inhales are through the nose, exhales are through the mouth. So here's what this looks like. So do it with me now. Let's do 3 more. Just breathe normally now and close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And just notice how your body feels different. Notice there might be like a slight sensation of tingling in some places of your body, but generally it just feels like there's more space around your body. That's how I feel with this type of thing. It's just there's this constriction, this sensation of constriction is gone. Take a moment and just feel what your body feels. And slowly, when you're ready, open your eyes. Welcome back. What this does is it rapidly clears CO2 in your body without the anxiety that CO2 buildup can induce with other breath work. Slows your heart rate, lowers your cortisol, activates your parasympathetic or relaxing part of your nervous system, and it's usable anywhere, right? You can, maybe not in public, it might feel a little vulnerable to do it in public, but you can excuse yourself, go to the restroom, as long as it smells decent in there, because there's a lot of breathing in through the nose. But really, you can do this anywhere, anytime, and quickly. I would say a minimum of 3 to 5 times just to be able to get the effect. But practice doing it longer and longer, and you'll get more of an effect out of it that way. So you can use it before a hard conversation. You can use it before you go into a stressful situation. You can use it after you've had a stressful situation. You can use it before you're about to say something that's really hard for you to say, or just when you start feeling a tightness in your chest. Or since you're doing this work with Gemini, once you start noticing all of the judgments that you have on the world around you and it's giving you a little bit of tension and anxiety, you're like, wow, I didn't realize how much that my perception is going into creating these situations that I'm in. Once you start to have those realizations, it can be quite uncomfortable. So this breath is a way to recenter. There's no fault. This is just exploration. It's curiosity. So you can go, I didn't realize that. Maybe I'll do something different now, or experiment with something different now, because Gemini is all about experimentation. See how this is so unrigid. That should feel like a relief. This sense of there's no wrong way to do it. It's just all about going on a journey. Speaking of which, Gemini also rules short trips. So Gemini season is a great time to plan like short-term goals or short trips, just ways to get a quick new perspective of the world. So journaling prompts. This is a way to kind of help you settle into this. And like I said, this is centered around Chiron, but with the veneer of Gemini. So with the process of Gemini. And this is in your PDF if you want to have something you can look at for this. So what we're going to talk about is your narratives in your life, how you tell the story. All right. So we're talking about what recurring thoughts arise around your self-worth. These are always running in the background, and we habitually push them down because we don't want to hear them. Now I'm saying, pay attention. Pay attention to them. It's uncomfortable, and you're going to be like, oh, I just told myself I was stupid like 3 times today. Or I just told myself I wasn't capable. I just told myself that I didn't know what I was doing. I just told myself that I'm going to screw this up. This is real. And this is what I call the bad parent voice. This is like the bad parent that's judging you, that's railroading you, that is never seeing the best in you. And guess what? All of us have that voice inside our heads. So let's see, is that voice prominent? If so, either journal once about this or carry something to write with, or you can use your phone if you want for this part, just for notating the times or the words or the things. So going about your day and be like, oh my God, it just happened. It just happened again. Write that down so that you can then reflect and journal on it more fully later by hand. Sense of self-worth. Where do you deserve more in your life, or where do you want more in your life? And can your self-image hold that? So we're taking question 1 and we're like saying, can it hold the thing that you're saying that you want, the self-image? This is really impactful. So take your time with this. Number 3, how do you support what you say you value? And we don't always support what we value in positive ways. The value is usually solid, like, oh, that's a good value, like love, oh, justice, oh, equality. But how we do that is maybe self-sacrifice, martyrdom, putting other people down. Like there are a lot of ways that we can achieve, in not so positive ways, good values. So let's think about that. How do you support what you say that you value? Number 4, what is your relationship to your body right now? There's recent science that's coming out that's saying if you talk directly to your body and body parts, like gently and kindly, it actually helps healing and it helps create the results that you want. Your body is your greatest supporter. It's always been there for you. It's always serving you. It's always doing work. A million different things are happening all the time to try and support you. It's relentless, this work that the body puts in. So maybe we should be a little bit more kind with the way that we communicate with our bodies. Like, wow, having a hard time with my gut right now, but you know what, gut, you're doing great. You're working really hard. We're going to figure this out together. We're gonna get it. Don't worry. You're supporting yourself by talking to your body. So yes, what relationship do you have with your body right now? And what ways can you improve that relationship? What things can you say, and to what parts of your body can you say them to help improve those relationships? Here's the last one. What is your relationship to sustenance? Food, money, and financial security. I know for myself and a lot of people, especially right now with everything that's happening in the world, our insecure relationship to sustenance is showing up in a lot of ways. So let's talk about that. Write about it. Where does it come from? And how can you start fixing it? And it's not about like, oh, just make more money, right? That's not the answer. We have to fix our internal relationship to money. And money is just an energy. And so we need to get aligned with the energy of sustenance and know that we're here to be provided for, and we offer something valuable, and that we deserve to have sustenance here in this world. So you can even create a little prayer or a mantra for yourself about this. That would be great. You can even write it. If you do decide to like write the mantra, a good practice is to write it by hand and have a smaller notebook and write every single line, that mantra, front and back. And when you're done, then you go to sleep. It's a really, really good way to imprint in your mind this new idea, because these things that we put in our minds about sustenance, they're deep. They go really deep, and they're often generational too. It's not just about your lifetime. It's about lifetimes of this type of energy. It's deep work, but you can do it. I do have another homework other than the journals, and this is a fun one. I want you to have, this is an experiential homework. So before the next new moon, I want you to do something or explore something you've been curious about but haven't done yet. It could be doing the wine painting thing. It could be going on a hiking trail you haven't been on yet. It could be going to the museum that you haven't been to see something. It could be talking to a person that you haven't talked to in a while. It could be writing a letter, a thank you letter to someone that you really feel that you want to thank but just haven't done, or tell how special you think that they are but you haven't done it. So anything that you've been curious about, you've had the idea and it sparked something in you, but you just haven't done it because you haven't had the time, or like something about it felt uncomfortable. Do it. Yeah, that's your homework. Do it. You can make it as simple or as involved as you want to, but just do it. It'll feel good, I promise. Gemini is restless for a reason because it's trying to collect experiences. It's trying to get information. And the routine for Gemini is deadly. So this is about changing up your routine so you can get curious. Because what routine does, and it has its place, trust me, any Virgo will tell you, routine has its place. But what this does, shaking up this routine, is it allows new information to come in, new experiences, new things that you haven't thought of. When you get too stuck in a routine, you have similar experiences all the time and your thought patterns are the same all the time. It creates a certain amount of stability, but stability is not what Gemini is about. Gemini is about curiosity. And we need all of those things in order to live healthily and to be able to move forward. I am going to leave you with a quote from Letters to a Young Poet. You may have heard this before, and I love this quote. Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that were written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given to you because you wouldn't be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. That's it. That's Gemini season in a nutshell. If you want to get more in depth or you want more personal information about what this Gemini new moon means, feel free to schedule a 30-minute virtual reading with me, $75. You can do it online on the website under the Work with Lou tab. And then you scroll down and there's a button for a virtual 30-minute power reading. This is if you have a specific thing that you're like, man, this is really getting to me. I need information about this. It's quick, it's succinct, it doesn't overload you with information like a lot of astrology readings do. It's about the concern that you have right now. So jump on the website, schedule that if you like. I would look forward to working one-on-one with you for that 30-minute reading. And please be active in the community. Let me know what you think. I will be posting also the PDF and the playlist soon. So thank you for being here. You are what makes this possible, and you are why I'm doing this work. And I hope that it's beneficial for you. All right. Thank you for being here.